Let's say you start in a new world and you need an XP farm. Well, we're gonna hop over to the Nether, and not for blazes or anything like that, but rather to farm nether quartz. Since by just breaking one of these nether quartz ore, you're about guaranteed 3.5 experience points on average. Meaning that if you just broke nether quartz ore alone, it would only take breaking 400 of these to get you from level 0 to 30. And with how prevalent and dense these veins can be, that's gonna be pretty easy to get. And plus, nether quartz has other uses too. I see this as a win-win. Here's how we're gonna turn this librarian villager into an infinite emerald farm. Since after repeatedly zombifying and curing that villager, we're able to get it so that we can buy one bookshelf for 1 emerald. And then we can take that newfound bookshelf, break it on the ground, and that'll give us 3 books that we can sell back to it for 1 emerald apiece. And at that point, we're basically tripling our money every time we talk to the villager. And while that might seem like we're manipulating it, it's clearly got plenty of emeralds for itself, so maybe it's fine with sharing the wealth. In recent updates, iron farms have never been easier to build. Since in the past we might have had to spend all the time to place down these doors in a specific way, now an entire iron farm can be kept to this small design. And as Raceworks shows off, we can build this iron farm design in 5 minutes, which that little of a time investment's able to get us 300 to 400 ingots per hour. So unless you start building with iron blocks, there's hardly even a need to go past this rate. It's really a no-brainer to have one of these in your world. If you've got access to the top of the nether roof, then you got yourself a food farm. Since for only 30 minutes of your time, you could build this extremely simple hoglin farm. And that way we're getting ourselves both cooked pork chops and leather too. And probably the best part about this is that it requires no complicated redstone or anything like that. Literally all we're doing is just scaring away the hoglins with warped fungus. And then by setting the light level of the farm so that only the hoglins can spawn, we're ensuring that when we go up top here, we'll have enough food to supply multiple players on the server with literal food for years. By following this user's lead, all we need is a pair of leather boots and some powdered snow to get ourselves up and away and leave no trace behind. Since with just 2 powdered snow buckets, we're able to pillar ourselves up and then bridge across infinitely. And while it could take some time to learn the technique to do this, as soon as you get that down, you can get this going about as fast as you can pillar up anyway. So if you're trying to escape from someone in a PvP situation, at least this way you're not leaving behind a tall tower as evidence to where you went. It might not look it, but this redstone is entirely wireless. And you'll see as much when we flip this lever. This design by 2no2 name has an infinite range, just as long as you're in the same dimension. The way this works is based off an obscure item mechanic where the game will store a unique entity ID, and then the delay it takes for that hopper to pick up the item could differ depending on that ID. And so when our receiver checks for that specifically timed entity creation, that'll sync up with our transmitter and allow us to have virtually infinite range on our redstone. But keep in mind, this isn't super reliable in single player. It's mostly intended for server use. But when you got it there, it essentially gives us 5G to use in our world. And that just blows my mind. Let's be honest, some Minecraft worlds are better than others. And that means that if you were to use a seed like the one on screen, you'll find that from the get-go, you're instantly better off than other people. Because by just simply spawning next to a mushroom island, you're essentially playing on peaceful mode, regardless of how bad things get. Since the only mobs that are able to spawn down here in the dark are bats. And that way, you're able to go caving around your base without any worries. And you can also do it without lighting up the area. So as long as you don't run into any monster spawners nearby, this will turn your hardcore world into the easiest that it can be. And as soon as you figure out how to get wood when you're on this island, that's all your problems solved. With this glitch, you can sprint forever without losing a single hunger bar. And the way it happens is that if you simply punch an enemy while you're sprinting, and then continue to sprint afterwards, that'll negate all of the sprint's hunger drain. And as user ElliotX shows off, this could be a game changer for speedrunning, especially because it's allowed in runs. But keep in mind that you will still lose hunger when you're jumping during this. And the way it all works is that the game thinks that when you punch, that you'd stop sprinting. So in that case, the server sees you as walking, but the client still believes that it's sprinting. And then that desyncs enough for us to manipulate and get all of this extra speed without ever having to do it on an empty stomach. If you're playing on peaceful mode, keep this one in mind, since the truth is that you're going overkill if you're putting respiration 3 on your helmet, since in this difficulty, putting any level of respiration on your helmet will mean that you cannot drown. And the reason for this is that the peaceful mode regeneration rate is enough to actually keep up with the drowning damage that you take when you have respiration. So don't waste your levels trying to go overkill on this.